Please note that this tutorial assumes you know a little bit about creating queries, and you've used the Query Designer once or twice. If you're new to queries and the Query Designer, you'll probably want to watch the tutorial Create a Query before watching this one. Each time you run a query, you get the latest information from your database. But how would you like to create a dynamic query that prompts you for one or more values, such as a fund code or a date range, each time you run it? This prompting feature is called a query parameter. When you create or edit a query, you can add a query parameter in Step 2 of the Query Designer, where you define your criteria statement. This is very easy to do, and the result is well worth it. Let's say you'd like your query to prompt you for a fund code each time you run it. You know that fund codes are stored in the gift designation table in the fund code field. And you selected the gift designation table in Step 1 of the Query Designer and are now in Step 2. First, you select the database table and field that you want to prompt the user on, gift designation and fund code. Next, you need to set the operator and value. As luck would have it, the defaults are already equals and query parameter. You now have gift designation fund code equals query parameter, which is exactly what you want. Now you need to add it to your criteria statement. When you click Add to Criteria, the Query Designer will open a small window asking you to provide the text for the query parameter. Enter the text you'd like to see when you or someone else runs the query. Then click OK. The Query Designer will now add this to your criteria statement, and you're ready to finalize and save your query. When you run the query, ResultsPlus will display the following prompt from which you can select a fund code. It's that simple. There are a few things you want to remember. First, don't forget to add any additional tables you need for the query statement in Step 1. Also, you might want to include the field you are prompting on in Step 4 so that it appears in the query results. This way you'll know which value you selected when you ran the query. Let's try another example. Let's say you not only want to prompt on fund code, but you'd like to be able to specify a range of dates on which gifts were received. Let's go back to Step 2 and add this additional criteria. You already have the fund code prompt. Now you need to add a prompt for start and end gift receive dates. Thankfully, you know that this information is stored in the gift transaction table in the date received field, and you had the foresight to add the gift transaction table in Step 1. Select the gift transaction date received field. Now you need to figure out the appropriate operator. For a range of dates, the operator you need is between inclusive. When you select the is between inclusive operator, the Query Designer will open two fields under Values. Select Query Parameter for both fields. Now you're ready to add this new criteria to your criteria statement. When you click Add to Criteria, the Query Designer will open a small window asking you to provide the text for the query parameter. Enter the text you'd like to see when you or someone else runs the query. Then click OK. The Query Designer will now add this additional criteria to your criteria statement, and you're ready to finalize and save your query. Now when you run the query, ResultsPlus will display all three of your query parameters, from which you can choose not just a fund code, but start and end dates when gifts were received. If you're not sure how to enter dates in the date fields, click the calendar button provided with all date fields and select a date. This completes the tutorial on using query parameters.